Good afternoon. My name is Shaw Lathrop. Oh, thank you. My name is Shaw Lathrop. I'm the program manager for Boomtown Accelerator, and it is my esteemed honor to welcome you to the second Boomtown Demo Day. First of all, let me just say thank you so much. I think this is probably the best attended event at sub 10 degree temperature that the Boulder Sea Air has ever seen. You guys are all amazing. If you haven't already, please grab yourself a coffee. If you want to do an Irish coffee, they make a great one. The bar is open. Stay warm. If you need to, cuddle up with the person next to you, whatever you got to do to get through here. We came in the building, and it turned out the heater was broken last night. So the Boulder Theater's been amazing. They've been just working their butts off to get the heat in here. So hopefully it'll get progressively more comfortable as you get going, and having everyone in the space will really help. So, we want to get things started off, and to do so, I'd like to bring out a man. He's a co-founder of the Boomtown Accelerator. Adweek magazine named him the creative director of the decade. He's a serial entrepreneur and just a general force of nature. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Alex Spagusky to the stage.
Thank you. All right, I got to stand on this X, they told me. I'm not good at following directions. I want to start by thanking Shaw and Toby and Jose and all the amazing interns at Boomtown. And just quickly, they don't get any thanks in this show, so just a quick round of applause for those guys. Yeah. None of this would be possible without hours and hours and months of work that they put in. I have a really quick story that, and then we'll get on to the show. But I came to Boulder about 10 years ago, not quite 10 years ago, and I was very excited, and I'm kind of a dude, and I'm thinking, I want to ride bikes, and I want to, all the things that dudes come to Boulder for, right? That's what I was thinking would be fun. And so I show up, and I'm moving my agency out here. So I met with the city of Boulder and sat down, and the mayor's office said, yeah, we're not really looking for any new businesses to move to Boulder. And I was like just my heart fell. And then they said, but we really like creative businesses, so we think it would be neat if you moved here. And that was my first realization that this was a very different business kind of community than anything I had been familiar with. And I grew up in Miami. This cold is crazy for me. And I had most of my business career in Miami. And if you're in business in Miami and you're working hard and you're trying to achieve, and there's someone else who's working hard and they're trying to achieve, and you're not even competitors, you're not even in the same space, they fucking want you to fail. There is a business community and it's built on hate. And then I got out here, and there's this, the community in general is amazing, but then the business community in Boulder was something that I was totally unprepared for, where people are supportive, they're collaborative, they're making introductions, and even when you're a competitor, we're helping each other out. And it was really, in startling contrast to anything that I had ever seen before. And I think that, right now, sub 5 degree weather, all you folks show up to support these entrepreneurs. Nowhere else in the world, I don't think. We have an amazing thing here. So a lot of what this day is about, it's about the Boulder community, and it's about what we do to support entrepreneurs. Really quick request before we get started. I don't think I even have to ask this, but every event I've ever gone to in Boulder, there's this ridiculously cool transfer of energy from the audience to the stage and back again. And, so feel free to hoop it up. When you see something, weird, yell it out, scream, whatever feels right. But let's have that Boulder flow, because these guys are going to feed off of it. Yes. Let's try one. Yeah. So it is my pleasure to introduce the first presenter. I worked a lot with these guys, and it really was, for me, inspiring, because they also embody, they're so appropriate right now as the first presenter because they really embody this Boulder ethos of community. They have an amazing business, but they refuse to get off of their mission, which is to do the right thing, to do something good, and to make money while they make the world a better place. So yeah, very Boulder. So please join me in welcoming Aiden Chopra and Bitsbox.
Hello, everybody. We work with kids. It's good practice. My name is Aiden Chopra, and I am the creative director at Bitsbox. My co-founder, Scott, and I are a couple of ex-Google employees who have teamed up to invent a new way to teach little kids to code. It all starts with an almost painless neural implant. Some of you aren't sure if we're kidding, you sickos. Okay, seriously, everybody knows that software developers are the kings and the queens of the modern age. They can have anything they want, they can live anywhere they want, and if your kid wants to be a programmer, wonderful. But that's not what this is about. Coding is about creativity. I can't think of a single awesome thing invented in the last 10 years that doesn't involve programming of some kind. If you want your kids to be creators, to be makers, to be contributors to the modern world who can breathe life into their own ideas, they need to know something about programming. We don't teach our kids to read and write because we want them to be novelists. We teach them because we want them to be happy. We want them to be successful. Maybe they buy us a Maserati, but mostly we want them to be happy and we want them to be successful. So let me show you a little bit of what we're up to. Bitsbox is a web app. It's a website where kids build apps for virtual devices. We give each one of them their own virtual iPad when they start, and they build things like games, they build greeting cards and puzzles and drawing apps, you name it. At first, we tell them exactly what to type. Very soon, they're customizing, and before you know it, they're creating their own apps from scratch. We've seen it happen. The apps that kids build with Bitsbox run on real devices, too. If they want to get them from, let's say, the computer where they're working to their iPad or their Android device, they just scan the QR code with the device, and the app appears right there where they can play it immediately. Of course, we've made it incredibly easy to share the apps that they build. In fact, parents can share their kids' apps with other parents. Because we know that if bragging is the currency of parenthood, then Bitsbox will make you rich. But programming is not a game. Programming is a language. And what do we know about teaching languages? Number one, it's never too early to start. Would you rather have your kid learning to speak French when they're 7 or when they're 17? The second thing we know about teaching languages is that it just takes practice. There's no magic to it. It just takes time. So what are we doing to make practice as fun as possible at Bitsbox? Well, we looked everywhere, and we found a technology that is cheap, it is reliable, and it's so simple that for a year and a half, it was based on ponies. It's the mail. Kids love mail. Have you seen their faces when they get something in the mail? It's like Christmas. They're like, I get a package. Emails, meh. Physical mail, amazing. Bitsbox isn't just a website, and it's not just a mobile app. It's a physical box, an actual box that we deliver to your kids every single month. It's full of apps and projects and activities all around that month's theme that they can do by themselves or they can do with you. Parents routinely spend hundreds of dollars a year teaching their kids to not drown, teaching them to not get beat up. We teach them how to make friends when they're backpacking through Europe. We teach them how to get dates when they're backpacking through Europe. A regular Bitsbox subscription is $30 a month. And $30 is enough for us to build a great business, but more importantly, to be able to be incredibly generous to individuals and organizations like schools who might not be able to afford this price. This is a kid who grew up in Sterling, Colorado, about 2 hours northeast of here. When he was 7, his dad bought him a Radio Shack TRS-80 supercomputer. You hook it up to a television. That's the monitor. And there's no shift key, it's all caps. And he spent every day for months teaching himself to program by copying code out of the book that came with the computer. 25 years later, he sold his first software startup to Google right here in Boulder. I'm really proud to say that this is Scott Leininger, my co-founder and the CEO of our company. It works. Think of how amazing he'd be if he'd had Bitsbox. I met Scott about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, actually, when we were both working on SketchUp at Google. I was the product evangelist for SketchUp. I made content. If you Google me, you'll see that I wrote this book. Scott and I both love to make stuff for people, especially kids, that teaches them how to do really hard things, like coding. We've also recruited an amazing group of advisors, and I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank them. Everybody give them a hand of applause. If it hadn't been for them, we literally wouldn't be here, so I'd like to thank them for everything they've done and the hundreds of hours of help they're going to provide in the next few months. We are launching a Kickstarter next month. If you believe in this as much as we do, and you want to help, go to bitsbox.com/hero and put in your email address. We'll send you a message a couple of days before the campaign goes live. Help us blow it out of the water. Help us hit it out of the park. I think my favorite computer scientist said it best, in the words of Miss Whitney Houston. We believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier to make a brighter day. Thank you.
To introduce our next team, please welcome Jim Franklin.
I'd like to invite you on a journey. It's a personal journey that I've been on from skeptic to investor of Parkify. When Ryan and Rishi first told me they were leaving SendGrid, I thought, oh no, I was sad. They were some of our very best talent, engineering talent that's hard to come by. But when they told me they were going to be founders, I was happy. I was like, awesome, you're going to be founders. What are you going to do? Parking. Oh, I thought this isn't going to end well. A Me Too parking app. But then, boom, Boomtown. They came here, and the progress they've made in the last few months has been nothing short of remarkable. With their product, with their team, with their business model. Do you love recurring revenue? I do. I love monthly recurring revenue. What Ryan and Rishi taught me was daily recurring revenue. I think that's so awesome. I wrote a check to become their first investor 2 weeks ago. Please join me in my excitement and welcome Ryan Sullivan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. If the weather, we appreciate it. I'm Ryan Sullivan, CEO and co-founder of Parkify. There are 100 million parking spots in the US alone, but it still takes the average person about 15 minutes to drive around and find a spot. Put another way, 30% of the traffic that we all experience in a city is caused by people looking for a parking spot. Now, the cities and the parking companies have desperately been trying to solve this problem. But the best thing we've gotten so far is the ability to pay with a credit card standing in line at a kiosk. Parkify has finally solved that problem. We have a platform that gives real-time data on where parking spots are available to the cities and the parking companies, and that fundamentally changes how they can operate their parking lots. This is such a massive change to the way they do business that we already have 3 customers signed up to be Parkify-enabled customers. The very first city to be Parkify-enabled will be the city of Boulder starting next month. Right after them, we will have 7,000 spots with one of Denver's largest parking management companies as a paying customer of Parkify, and the city of Pittsburgh's largest parking management company with 25,000 parking spots is a signed, paying customer of Parkify. These 3 customers represent a potential $150,000 of monthly reoccurring revenue for Parkify. And they are just 3 of thousands of companies and cities just like them across the country. Now, I want to introduce you to Kurt. Kurt is the operations manager for all of the parking here in Boulder. His job has 3 main challenges that he wants to solve. First, he needs to find the right price for his spots that encourage traffic flow through the city and still make a healthy revenue. Second, he needs to make it easy for when people drive into Boulder for them to quickly find and pay for a parking spot. And finally, he needs to enforce his lots. He needs to make sure that when we park, we pay, or unfortunately, we get a ticket. So right now, Kurt has to manually send out parking attendants to go spot by spot, lot by lot, and gather that data for him and to enforce his lots. By the time they do that, it's inaccurate, they've missed some spots, and they have no data that Kurt can use to actively make new decisions on what his pricing should be or where customers should park. What he really needed was that information in real time. He needed to see at his fingertips where and what was going on with his parking. Now that Kurt uses Parkify, that is exactly what he gets. He simply can log into our dashboard, and at a glance, he sees a map that shows him exactly where his open spots are so that he can direct customers to them, or where he needs to send his parking enforcement efforts. He can even see alerts telling him where his highest value targets are, where someone's been parked in the street for 8 hours and hasn't paid, or where he can surge price and recapture some additional revenue. These are all things that Kurt was never able to do before Parkify, and now it's at his fingertips, ready to make decisions. We do this by simply giving him and installing our low-cost sensor in his parking spots. This sensor sends that real-time data to Kurt and allows him to make decisions that he actually wants to be able to make. Now, we're not the first to realize that parking is terrible, especially on a day like today. It's bad. But we're also not the first to try to solve it with sensors. So what we do differently, our competitors have to drill 3 inches of concrete out of every single parking spot. And they charge $300 for that privilege. Our sensors are easily and harmlessly adhered on top of the pavement, and it takes us less than 2 minutes to install. They're still hard enough to get up that the average person can't come and pick it up, and they even work today in the snow with the snow plows. But they're so easy that my co-founder's 2-year-old son is able to install ours. Yes, that happens to be a crosswalk. Occasionally he gets them in the parking lots, though. We love him. The best part is that it costs us only $10 to make our sensors. And for Kurt and our customers, it costs absolutely nothing. We don't charge them for a sensor. We charge them for access to the data and the analytics that they use to make quality decisions and to capture additional revenue. We knew that with such a big market and a big problem, we needed the right team to get it done. My co-founder Rishi and I both have over 10 years of experience scaling engineering teams and software solutions at companies like Microsoft and SendGrid. But we also wanted a team of advisors that had been successful before to help us on our path to success. People like Joe Scharf, Eric Marcoulier, and as you just saw, Jim Franklin. Thank you guys for all your help and all our mentors too. Appreciate it. So now that we finally have a platform that can tell us where open parking spots are in real time, the Parkify platform can connect with the APIs of the consumer apps that we all want to use. So now we'll finally be able to know where an open spot is, be directed to it, or when we have dinner reservations, tell us that there's 2 spots available a block away, all because the Parkify platform can connect the parking spot data with the mobile apps. We know that good decisions are driven with accurate and timely data. And now with the Parkify platform, that data is finally available to parking. So In the future, with Parkify, you'll simply, instead of driving around looking for a spot causing traffic, be able to say, Siri, where should I park? Thank you.
To introduce our next team, please welcome Elizabeth Krause.
Hi. I'm Elizabeth Krause, and I'm a local angel investor and the co-founder of Merge Lane, an accelerator for high-growth, women-led startups. When I met our next presenter, I asked him why he became an entrepreneur, and he told me a pretty inspiring story. He said that he grew up in project housing with a single mother, and his mother desperately wanted her children to know that there was life outside her neighborhood, but she lacked the means to get them there. So she packed up her kids, she took them down to the local airport, and she talked to every single pilot until she could convince one of them to take her children on their very own private airplane ride. And Luke, our next presenter, told me that he learned two things that day: that the impossible was absolutely possible, and that there was a whole big wide world outside of project housing. And he said from that day forward, being an entrepreneur just came naturally. And so it is my pleasure to introduce the incredibly passionate and very tenacious founder of Peach, Luke Cooper. And Luke doesn't know this yet, but I have been so impressed with him since I've been working with him at Boomtown and with his interactions today that I'm actually just decided this 5 minutes ago that I am going to invest my own money into Peach. Thank you.
Thank you for that great introduction, Elizabeth. I'm Luke. I'm CEO of Peach. At the age of 24, I was one of the youngest in-house counsels at State Farm, the largest insurance companies in the US. But today, I'm here with my CTO and co-founder, Chris, and we are revolutionizing the way that modern consumers get access to the very best insurance for the things that they buy. Now, we all know who this is. His name happens to be Manny. He represents that uncomfortable conversation that leaves us feeling so stupid, and we ultimately just cave in and buy the damn warranty. As a result, we wind up hating Manny, but it is not Manny's fault. You see, he's just a small part of a $40 billion problem that's led by a large group of insurance and warranty companies that don't compete on price, transparency, or quality. In fact, they don't compete at all. Instead, they incentivize Manny to push us at a moment when we lack the information and our only choices are to walk out feeling stupid or just cave in. But what if there's a better way? What if you could have all of your options organized in one place? What if you could walk away confidently knowing that you made the right decision? That's the magic of our platform. So imagine you're shopping on your favorite website, and when you get to the checkout process, instead of having the one overpriced option, you have the top 3 insurance companies bidding to give you the very best coverage and price terms. We show you the hits and misses of each one of these policies, and when you don't need insurance, we tell you that too. Sometimes the things that you purchase are already covered on one of your existing credit cards, because Manny might forget to tell you that. So you might be asking how we do this. Well, over the last 95 days, we've poured over millions of lines of policies and insurance data, and we've distilled that information into plain English. And then we made it very easy for anyone to connect to that data. As a result of this, our e-commerce partners love us because we make it very easy and simple for their customers to get options and not feel like they're being pushed. As for other retailers, like Best Buy, well, you think they hate us, but they love us too. When a customer goes to Best Buy, and they walk out without a warranty, Best Buy comes to Peach because we give them a chance to get a second bite at the, all right. So this helps us make revenue in two ways. One, through warranty sales for any referrals that are made on our platform, and secondly, through premium services offered to our licensed partners. And we've already begun executing our revenue model. We've signed up partners that have already begun marketing us, like Pivot Desk right here in Boulder. Our e-commerce partners, we've already begun integrating with them too. For Peach, this equates into a potential of 6 million monthly users and over $1 million in monthly recurring revenue. Now, to be fair, we do have competition. A customer can certainly go to one of our competitors like Warranty Life or SquareTrade, but they're like all of these other companies. They offer zero optionality, zero customer service, and they have no mobile strategy. So imagine that you are walking down the street and you drop your cell phone. We're with you. Our mobile app scans, our mobile app allows you to start the claims process immediately and by detecting that drop. And you have your new replacement phone in hours, not days. Since participating this summer in the Techstars Rising Stars program and Boomtown, we've already raised almost $500,000 of our seed round. Thank you. And we've got a great team. A team with a skill set that is uniquely positioned for this market. Chris is a Techstars alum as well and a full stack engineer. He helped MoveLine become one of the leading moving logistics companies in the US. I've gotten valuable experience as a lawyer. I've also earned my MBA at Babson, and I've got a previous exit. Caldwell Technology Solutions was a company that we took from zero and sold it for $4 million within 18 months on one round of funding of $180K. Now, it doesn't hold a candle, though, to our incredible group of advisors. From the co-founder of Bill Me Later, that was sold to PayPal for $1 billion, to an executive at one of the leading insurance companies. Our advisors don't just support us with their time, but with their money as well. Because Peach represents a monumental shift in the warranty buying process. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I've been working in medical technology and research for over 10 years, most recently as co-founder and VP of operations for Flagship Biosciences. Alex Archna and their team are taking on an enormous problem in healthcare. This is a problem that I've seen firsthand in my medical experience. What sold me on this team was their passion and dedication to solving a problem, because in my experience, the best entrepreneurs have a personal reason behind why they're building their companies. This is why I'm investing my own money in Truthly. It is my honor to introduce Alex, Mark, and Truthly.
My name is Alex, and I suffer from a chronic condition. More than half of you in this room today will experience something like this in your lives. In my case, I have a specific GI disorder that often makes it difficult for me to gain weight and causes me to be nutritionally deficient, no matter what food I eat. Now, when I was diagnosed, I did what any of us would do. I went online to look for information and for answers because I wanted to feel better. But it's really difficult to find answers about our health online. So months later, without a solution, I turned to what I was trained as a student to do, and I started looking at actual scientific health research. And I realized something. Hidden within this research, there were kernels of truth I had never learned from my Google searching. This was the first time I was able to make a change to feel better. That's why I'm co-founder and CEO of Truthly. Truthly is a web application that helps consumers get specifically relevant, research-backed health information. So the amount of health research that's online has doubled in the past 10 years, and the number of health content sites is exploding at an even greater rate. So why is it so difficult for us to find answers about our health when we need it most? It's because when we go to Google, we get millions of results and we have no idea what to trust. Rarely are sources cited, and these sites are covered in advertising, often sometimes within the content itself. But the big problem is that these sites are optimizing for the wrong thing. In order to increase advertising revenue, these sites are optimizing for click-throughs, for page views, and for time on site, not for solutions. Thankfully, with Truthly, the only thing that matters is getting you to the information you need as quickly as possible. We've built a powerful recommendation engine, and unlike search, we sort this information by the metrics that actually matter to you: quality, usefulness, and relevance. Everything on Truthly is an actual scientific article that's been validated and summarized by a team of experts. It's all immediately useful and actionable. So you can take it, go home, and make a change in your life today. And we personalize this information to the consumer because no two people are the same. Now, when you're done, you probably have questions. With Truthly, you can actually ask doctors and specialists, and for the first time ever, you can ask the original researcher who wrote the paper. We scale this content with a contributor network of researchers. This is the first time they've been invited to the table to contribute and talk directly with consumers, and they love this. That's why when we sent out feelers to top universities like Stanford and Anschutz Medical Center, we had 50 researchers commit to contributing to Truthly within the first few days. Now, we get this content on Truthly when our contributors find a scientific article they're interested in. They then follow our guidelines, and they write a summary and enter relevant metadata. They submit this to our review board, who makes sure it meets our exacting criteria. To source this research, we have 2 partnerships with leaders in research aggregation, Sciencescape and Standard Analytics. These companies feed a filtered list of research to our contributors, and this means that you get the most groundbreaking health information in your hands as quickly as possible. Because it can take up to 10 years for health research to make it and to be put into practice by your doctor. With Truthly, it just takes hours. Now, as we grow, we can expand into hundreds of different health verticals, but we're starting with autism. Because 1 in 68 children today in the United States is diagnosed with autism, and no group has had to deal with more misinformation than the parents of these children. That's why today, to help stamp out this misinformation, I'm proud to announce we just closed a partnership with the Autism Society of Colorado to beta test Truthly with 9,000 of their members and for future rollout nationally. Now, the annual spend on autism in the United States is $235 billion. In order to continue helping the people that need it most, we use a simple freemium model that aligns our goals with the goals of our consumer. The information will always be free, but for a monthly subscription, users will get the ability to ask questions to doctors and researchers, access our mobile app on the fly, and request that our contributors cover specific research. As CEO, I am fanatical about building the most amazing team to solve this problem. We have a combined 10 years of research experience from top universities, and my co-founder and chief science officer, Archana, actually put her PhD on hold from Stanford because she believed research should be creating change, not stuck in a scientific journal. We have an amazing developer and engineer from Berkeley, Devin, and I'm a designer, a front-end developer, and as you know, I have a personal connection to this problem. We deserve better health information. And so that's why my promise here to you today is that we will never do anything to compromise the quality of our content. Because this isn't just my story, this is your story and your family's story. And if that day comes, I want to live in a world where we don't lose years of our life because we can't find the right information. Thank you.
I love that hair. This next team comes to us all the way from Austin, Texas. And since arriving in Boulder, they've done such a great job at just keeping their heads down and focusing on getting their product to market. Their CEO is someone we like to affectionately refer to as the French cowboy. Help me welcome to the stage, Julien.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all for coming in this lovely but freezing afternoon. I really appreciate that. My name is Julien Kalegi, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Medianest. I'm originally from Paris, France, so I hope it will be a satisfactory explanation to my sharp French accent, my rude French manners, or my absolutely not meant French arrogance. That said, I would love to share with you guys what's our plan to dominate the market. And that market is online videos. So let's dig into some numbers. By 2015, the number of online video consumers will double to 1.5 billion. By 2016, two-thirds of the whole mobile traffic will be videos. And by 2017, the worldwide internet traffic will be 70% of videos. So this is huge number. This is huge growing number. But how do this translate in terms of beautiful American dollars? The market is huge. The market is 37 billion. So what's your plan? What's your plan to dominate this market? Let's take inspiration from very, very successful companies. Let's take Amazon. Amazon, with their distribution centers, becomes the king of the online retail marketplace. Apple, first in music with the iTunes Store, then in apps with the App Store, become a key player in both industries. What do those two companies have in common? Distribution. They control distribution. And we also believe distribution is the key to the online video market. Currently, to reach the audience, brands have to be in a huge growing number of sites. To do that, they have to sign in one by one, side by side, and they upload their video one by one, video by videos. This is crazy. And once they want to report about how their video are performing, they have to do the reverse. They have to go side by side and copy and paste data from multiple sources to the same messy Excel spreadsheet. But at the end of the day, the only thing they got is ugly graphs. And these graphs are meaningless. This whole process, we believe this whole process is extremely complicated, error-prone, and grossly inefficient. We have solved everything. And that is Medianest. Medianest is a software-as-a-service web application that helps brands to better manage, promote, and analyze their online videos. What does this mean? It means we take this complex and very tedious issue, we solve it by being the single point of contact brands need to use. Our tool is very simple. Brands need just need to sign in once into our website. They are provided with a powerful single form. They can upload their video once, input their metadata once, and sync all their accounts once. It is that simple. Everything brands need in a one powerful form. We also provide analytics. We have built an aggregated analytics platform that provide views analytics for each site, but also social analytics. Facebook analytics, Google Plus analytics, and Twitter analytics. I'm very proud to announce today we are about to release a new awesome feature. With all the data we have collected, and we have collected a lot of data, we have built a title recommendation engine. We are about to suggest to brand better title for their videos. For example, if you want to title your video Tricks for Public Speaking, we are about to say, you shouldn't use tricks. You should use tips. And by using tips, you're going to get an average of 3 times more views. That's huge. We are the only one in the market to do that. Speaking about competition, our competition is shit. So I've been advised by a lot of people to not say that. So to compensate, I'm going to say we love them. And we truly love them. And we strongly believe love is enough compensation. That said, our main competitor is Tomoggle. We love them, Tomoggle. We launched now 8 days ago. 8 days ago. We have already 3 times more sites, 4 times more analytic data points, and on top of that, we are 100 times cheaper. Tomoggle have recently gone through an IPO and has chosen to switch their focus to video advertising as they were expanding. We believe that it's a huge opportunity for us. And we have the ultimate proof, customers. One of the top brands in the world, GoPro, came to us back in June when we first launched our private alpha. They come to us, and they have been using us continuously for the past 5 months. And you guys know startups. We have come a long way since then. They have been amassing 500,000 views through us. This translates also in terms of revenue. Our revenue forecast for this very first month, so since our release 8 days ago, are already exceeding $4,000. The best part is we have a very high margin. We have an 85% margin in this $4,000. And to do that, we have the best team in the whole universe. Natasha, who has some CMO, who is hiding somewhere. Yeah, awesome CMO, has years of experience in the video industry, working at companies like Viacom, MySpace, MTV, and Salesforce. Andrew, our talented CTO, had built a web analytics that was competing with Google Analytics and was one of the top engineers back at Georgia Tech. But we need to expand. We need to expand aggressively. We need to expand to more sites. We need to analyze a lot more data points. And to do that, we need to expand our technical team. So I wanted to do this last slide with an Italian accent. But I won't risk it tonight, or today. I won't risk it today. Yeah, I feel it's a night because everything is black. But So I want to picture what I'm going to say with a very, very, very cliché Italian accent. See. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Join us on our journey as we dominate the online video market. Thank you.
This next team is from right here in Boulder, Colorado, and I know that for many of you, they're a local hometown favorite. I remember when we were going through the application processes for the fall classes, people would stop us in the street and just had the best things to say about this company. I'm very pleased to bring out to the stage Wade Rosen, CEO for ThrivePass.
Hi, I'm Wade Rosen, co-founder of ThrivePass, the nation's first wellness savings account. Over the past 3 years, my co-founders and I have run a company specializing in employee recognition. While working with our clients, the same question kept coming up over and over again. We've got this wellness stipend in place, but we're not really getting a lot out of it. Do you know of a better solution? So we went looking for that solution, and what we found was a massive market. In fact, companies will spend nearly $600 per employee per year in 2014 on wellness incentives. But despite that, all these are handled internally in one of two very inefficient ways, through stipends or through reimbursement. With stipends, companies deposit $50 or $100 directly into an employee's paycheck every month. By month 2, the employee's completely forgotten about it, and the company doesn't know whether they're going to the gym or spending on pizza and Netflix. With reimbursement, you fill out a form, submit a receipt, fill out a few more forms, turn that all into accounting to get back $25. Needless to say, engagement rates with reimbursement programs are incredibly low. We created the Wellness Savings Account to solve these problems. Many of you are familiar with a health savings account or an HSA. This has a lot of similarities, except the Wellness Savings Account is specifically designed to keep employees healthy. Now, let me show you how it works. I log in. Oh, I've got $200. So personally, I like gyms and rock climbing, so I start looking through. No, well, maybe. No. Equinox. I've always wanted to give that a try. So I click in, I select my membership type, and approve the transaction. The amount is automatically deducted from my account, and I'm set to go. Now all this information is packaged and sent over to the company in a HIPAA-compliant report that they can use to reduce their insurance premiums and better understand employee preferences. And what's best of all is it's use it or lose it. So at the end of the year, if I haven't used my entire budget, it simply flushes out of the system and goes back to the corporation. So they're never spending any money on wellness activities that go unused. With ThrivePass, we have the opportunity to make money throughout the value chain. First, from the vendor, we get a referral fee of between 10 and 50% for every client that we send to them. And from the corporation, it's a typical SaaS product where we charge a monthly per user fee. To give you an idea of how this looks, we can look at an average 600-person company, typical spend, typical engagement rate. From this one company, we make over $2,000 a month from the corporation and $4,000 from our vendor partners, meaning that single company is driving over $6,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue. Now, as a team, we bootstrapped our first company, Enjoy Wishlist. We bootstrapped our first company to profitability. In the process, we learned how to integrate into HR systems, deliver high-value reporting, and handle outside vendors. But what's most important is that with this new product, we're going to be selling to the exact same customers we're already working with today. To give you an idea of that traction, when we first launched our prototype, we had 4 clients sign up in a short amount of time. And one of those was the state of Colorado, making the offer available to over 30,000 employees. With our beta launching in January, we're already in discussions with over 30 of our existing customers to come on board as early adopters. And when we built the product, we worked closely with our partners, our insurance broker partners, to develop a product that they could immediately roll out to their distribution networks. Corporate wellness is bigger than ever. Today, 91% of large enterprises already have some sort of wellness incentive in place. We understand the importance and opportunity that this presents. That's why we've created the turnkey model for their success. We're ThrivePass, the nation's first wellness savings account. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaw, and thank you for the opportunity to present Derive here today. Just by way of my background, I come from the big data space and internet technology world, mainly in the online advertising part of that. And it was very clear to us, and the success we had at True Effect was to provide tools that were very simple for advertisers and agencies to use to get performance out of their big data asset. Which is why I'm excited for the Derive guys at this point. The market opportunity they have is huge, but one of the key differentiations they have is around their IP. Their IP can take all those bits and bytes from big data and turn it into real English so that the common consumer can understand that. I believe phase 2 is also turning it into Australian, which I'm very excited about. But, so if you look around the space now and the Internet of Things, you'll see all these sensor-connected devices as well. They're in white goods, they're in home care, home security, and even in construction, in the helmets and vests of construction workers. What Derive will do is take that data, along with the big data asset, and provide a nice, simple access for the everyday consumer to use in their normal day living, as well as their partners to use to determine where their costs are going and where they can improve their own overall performance. I don't know about you, but when I'm running around mowing the lawn and my wife calls me to see if we have eggs in the fridge, when she's using Derive, she'll know that we need eggs. She'll also know that King Soopers has them on special. And by the way, if you buy it today, you get double loyalty points on your loyalty card. And I learned earlier that you probably have a parking spot right by the front door. So with that, let me introduce Scott Farah, who's the CTO and co-founder of Derive.
Thanks very much, Ron. In one sentence, what we do at Derive is we make it very simple for these machines that Ron mentioned to communicate with you in plain English or Spanish. We do this by turning data into human language. Before I get into the technology, let me introduce the core management team. My CEO, Mike Williams, he's had over 20 years experience at C-level positions. And by now, he's had over a couple of exits. Myself, I'm CTO, Scott Farrar is my name. I have a PhD in linguistics, and I invented the technology that I'm going to tell you about today. I've spent the past 15 years helping companies transform data into language, helping them understand some of their business intelligence. As Ron said, the number of sensors, the number of connected devices in our world is growing at such an astounding rate. In fact, by 2020, there'll be 50 billion connected devices in our world. Massive number. This introduces amazing opportunity for human progress. Our lives will truly be better. They're getting better all the time, as you saw from some of the presentations now. But this also creates some challenges. These devices, these sensors that are on physical objects, in our parking spots, in many, many places in our environment, they're very, very chatty. They produce an astounding amount of data. And for people like us, for operators on, say, manufacturing floors, for the average person, in order to interpret this, it's best if you hear it in your own language, or if you read it in your own language. But these 50 billion sensors, unfortunately, they don't speak English. They don't speak Spanish. At Derive, we've changed this. Let me tell you how this works. We take multiple data sources, temperature. We take precipitation information, or even weather, and we combine this, and we output text, textual language, or voice. So some simple examples. Let's take the weather, which we're all familiar with today. Sorry that this example is even too familiar. Today, if you had Derive, you would get a message saying, hey, why don't you take your winter coat? And notice that it's the combination of data that makes this possible. If it were the summertime and precipitation went up, the temperature went up, you might instead get a message saying, take your raincoat. In another domain, parking, for example, you might get a message this morning saying, why don't you consider parking in covered parking? And oh, by the way, there's a game today, and you might consider leaving early. That's what we do at Derive. We take this information produced by sensors, and we produce something actionable, something that you can actually do and make your life better from. How does the technology work? As I said, we combine these various sources of information and data. A key ingredient to our technology is that we use context. Context is very important, and let me tell you why. No conversation, no bit of language that people produce happens without some sort of context. If I say 50 degrees, if you're in Anchorage, Alaska, it's downright balmy. If you're in Florida, 50 degrees is chilly. Those people probably have coats on, I don't know. So context is very important. We take these two components, we take data, data fusion, and context, and we use a technology called natural language generation. It happens to be my expertise. For natural language generation, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. This is one of the pillars of AI. If we can make computers talk, we're partly there to artificial intelligence. So this is what we do at Derive. We're hitting some key industries. There's some segments right now, such as manufacturing. And we're starting out by using our technology to help manufacturing companies such as M-Factor Engineering. We're working with them right now. They're a Boulder company. We're combining temperature data, vibration data, other weather and sensor and other kinds of sensor data, and we're producing actionable results. But this is a lot bigger than just manufacturing or parking or standard examples. The world is becoming an amazingly connected place. We're looking at smart construction. We're looking at home automation. We're looking at smart agriculture. The market for sensors over the next few years will more than double in terms of economic value. Right now, economic value is growing, and it's expected that the market for this kind of thing will be double what PCs, smartphones, and tablets have been in the last decade. $14 trillion. This is the number that Gartner, UBS Bank, and other sources say is going to be the economic value for this thing we call the Internet of Things. Our product is really insights. It's conceptual. But the way we deliver this in terms of actionable alerts, summaries, but also technical reports. And the way we make money is we charge by the message. It's a simple usage-based model. It's recurring. I heard somebody say that recurring revenue is great. At Derive, we love it too. A single alert, that's a couple of messages. A summary, maybe a dozen. A technical report, a couple of hundred messages. We allow any company of any size to access our software. We deliver this via a simple and easy-to-use API. I've introduced our core team. We have leadership with Mike Williams. I have the technology expertise. But I want to tell you about our other co-founder. He's our secret weapon. Tom Macon, who's here today, he spent the last 15 years actually selling sensors to large companies, making connections to people like Apple, Siemens, Rockwell, and Honeywell. We're very proud to have him on the team. Greg Limbs is also a technology leader in the area whom you might know. He's on our advisory board. And as you know, Ron Hill, who's a business leader. We thank them very much for this. And I want to give a big shout out to Boomtown. Thanks for making this possible. Boomtown. As I said, we make it very easy for machines to communicate in plain English or Spanish to people. And I want to leave you with this. 3 hours ago, a probe landed on a comet. A probe the size of a washing machine. The European Space Agency, in combination with a lot of people, launched this thing and landed it on a shooting star. Guess how many sensors were on board? Over 500 sensors are now streaming data back to Earth. The next time that we land on a shooting star, Derive's technology will be in that craft. What? Thank you very much.
So before I bring out the last couple teams, I want to make a couple announcements real fast. first of all proceeds for today's event go to support the Entrepreneurial Fund of Colorado, Entrepreneurial Foundation of Colorado. This is a great nonprofit that we're really happy to support that continues to really push forward the entrepreneurial spirit in Boulder. It's a great cause, and I encourage you to check out their website and talk to them more about what it is they do. This afternoon, after this event is over, if you are an investor, a mentor, or a sponsor, we'd love to invite you to stick around. We'll have an opportunity for you to talk to the teams. You see we have these white tables set up on either side of the stage. This is a chance for you to come, talk to the teams, ask them questions, and take a look at what's under the hood. And then after that, we'll, at about 3 o'clock, we'll head into George's, and you can grab a drink and help celebrate these teams. For everybody else, especially everyone that's up in the balcony, we love you guys so much, our community up there. Starting at 4 o'clock, we'll head over to Japango, and this will kick off the after-party celebration. We'll have food, we'll have drinks, and this will be an opportunity for you to pat these guys on the back and really celebrate all that they've accomplished over the last few months. The after-party is sponsored by Zao, and these guys have just been absolutely fantastic, and I want to give a special shout-out to them, congratulating them on the recent IPO. This is a company that we are really happy to have supporting us in Demo Day today. Finally, I just want to make a quick announcement that our applications are open for one more week. If you or somebody you know feels like they'd be a good fit for Boomtown, our next program starts March 2nd. We have a super competitive batch this time around, but we are still looking for awesome teams. So please, if you want to apply, check out our website and have all the information on there. This next team comes to us from the Research Triangle in North Carolina. They are so smart, so capable, and today, in his turtleneck, he reminds me of the Steve Jobs of Latin America. I'd like to bring out to the stage Juan Porras from Factivate.
Good afternoon. I freaking love spreadsheets. I've spent hours making them beautiful. I've even spent quite a few nights with them. But while I love them, I'm not so in love with them that I don't see their biggest fault. You see, it's been over 35 years since the spreadsheet was created. And while our needs have evolved, the spreadsheet hasn't kept up. As a result, the #1 tool running all businesses is now the biggest bottleneck in business productivity. My name is Juan Porras. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Factivate. Factivate is real-time data and just-in-time reactions. Our cloud-based spreadsheet gives our users the ability to turn their spreadsheets into workflow tools, business process tools, CRMs, ERPs, mobile applications, and more. Employees waste an average of about 6 hours per week, which is equivalent to 1.5 months a year, importing outside information into their spreadsheets, formatting it, analyzing it, and ultimately making actionable decisions off of old information. These inefficient steps are riddled with human errors, yet users continue to rely on the same processes as a basis for running their companies. We have verified all these same issues run across small and medium businesses and multi-billion-dollar companies, including Under Armour, Cisco, and IBM. Knowing this, we responded to an RFP put out 2 months ago by the largest telecommunications company in the Americas, and they were facing these exact same issues. They were wasting time managing their spreadsheets and missing critical information as a result of these robotic processes, costing them thousands of dollars in missed opportunities and poor decisions. Their only other option was to integrate with a tool like Salesforce for a huge cost and dealing with their IT department for more than 5 months, an option that no one wanted to take. We solved their issue, and this is how we did it. We took the tool that they used every day and implemented our solution to give them this. Our system is now importing millions of data points from other databases, including other spreadsheets, in real time. Now, best of all, the spreadsheet doesn't need to be open for it to work for them. So even as the VP of sales is asleep, when this salesman puts in this huge order, it works for her. She immediately gets a push notification informing her of that order. The Factivate spreadsheet also recognizes that she doesn't have enough inventory to meet that demand, so it immediately sends out a new order to her supplier. It is even capable of sending out a thank you card to her client, thanking them for their business. Now here's the crazy thing. Using Factivate, we were able to implement our solution in less than 2 days. And when we showed it to them, they were astounded. Best of all, it didn't cost them $200,000. Instead, it cost them a low monthly subscription. And that is why the largest telecommunications company in the Americas is our very first client. Now, our spreadsheet is so simple to use that anyone can add these actions and have their spreadsheet behave like a Salesforce or an SAP. But here's the really interesting thing that we've discovered. And I'm only going to tell you this because you're my new 1,000 best friends. When we have enough of these actions and we push this out to market, we will have essentially replaced the pieces of these big technologies for 80% of companies out there. Our goal is so that when any business seeks an efficient, real-time productivity tool, they will turn to the Factivate spreadsheet. And that gives us a huge market opportunity of more than $80 billion. This is how we're going to run our company. We make our money by selling data calls and data storage in the form of recurring subscription accounts, and we have a clear go-to-market strategy. Prior to launch, we're leveraging our embedded strengths in Latin America, where the market is less cluttered and our contacts are just as strong. As a result, we're able to talk to heads of marketing, sales, and operations. To be clear, we are not selling to IT departments because we understand the politics and long sales cycles associated with those strategies. And this has already worked for us. Within the past 2 months, we've been able to sign these clients, all while building our amazing product. Now, our market timing is ideal. We face an incumbent group of companies who are worried more about keeping their current customers than innovating. Software as a service tools have actually increased spreadsheet usage rather than replace them. And big data companies continue to seek user-friendly tools that drive productivity. Now, all these forces are creating an amazing window of opportunity for us because we recognize one fundamental truth that none of these guys do. A spreadsheet can be useful even when you're not looking at it. As a result, Factivate is positioned to give the business users what they will always need most, an always-on solution with real-time information and split-second reactions that drive profitability. We know this because we've experienced this firsthand. As for myself, a Duke University graduate, I've had business experience with both startups and Fortune 500 companies. Our amazing CTO and co-founder, Ralph Tavares, has been on the IT industry for more than 20 years, working for huge companies like Morgan Stanley and Viacom. He's even had some startup experience as the CTO for Submarino.com, which is incidentally the Amazon of Brazil. We have an amazing team behind us with more than 30 years of experience coming from Citrix, the Wharton School of Business, the Boston Consulting Group, Office Depot. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of our amazing mentors and advisors. Without you guys, we wouldn't be standing here today, so thank you. They deserve it. It's been over 35 years since the spreadsheet was created. Our revolutionary tool will not only ensure that the spreadsheet keeps up with our needs, but anticipate them. With Factivate, I can now love my spreadsheet wholeheartedly, and you can too. Thank you.
To introduce our next team, please welcome Jack Donenfeld.
Good afternoon. I'm Jack Donenfeld. I've been around the startup industry for a long time, but I've never introduced a company to investors at a meeting like this. Today, I'm standing up for Kickfurther. They're smart, they're creative, they're hardworking, and guess what? They're going to make a whole lot of money. This is the right team. They've got the right stuff. I'm all in. You will be too. So please welcome Sean DeClercq and Kickfurther.
Imagine a crowdfunding platform where users can buy inventory for businesses. And when that inventory sells, the users earn a great return, up to 30% APR. This is Kickfurther. I'm going to tell you how we accomplish that, but before I do, I just want to talk a little bit about crowdfunding in general. Now, you might not know this, but when a product-focused company successfully completes a crowdfunding campaign, they don't just automatically become some kind of superstar business. In fact, 90% of successful, fully funded companies fail. Let me give you an example. The OC Doc raised $107,000. 1 year later, they were out of business. This was a company that had a great product, existing customers, and cash in the bank. So why is it that 90% of these businesses are failing? Well, that money in the bank needs to be used for production. And once the goods have been produced and shipped to the original backers, that pile of cash is mostly gone. Nobody gets into business to do one production run. But where are these companies going to find the capital to do the next one? We know that larger established companies have access to financing through cheap bank loans, but many new growing companies just don't have that option. They have customers, they have brand awareness, they've established product market fit, but banks still won't lend to them. And you know it hasn't gotten easier since 2008. This is where Kickfurther comes in. On the Kickfurther platform, businesses can crowdfund inventory from their existing customer base. And we can serve any business, not just those that have exited a crowdfunding platform. But wait, it gets better. Kickfurther makes these opportunities available to anyone on the market. And we mean anyone, including the non-accredited investor market. Right now, non-accredited investors don't have a lot of options to grow their money. The stock market is complex and requires a great deal of knowledge and time to use to any degree of success. They don't have the capital for large-scale investments like real estate. A lot of them have their money sitting in savings accounts, earning them just amazing returns. Thank you. That's supposed to be a joke. What if these people had a place where they could shop for product offers and support growing businesses, and while doing so, earn a great return? This is Kickfurther. Now let me show you how it works. Josh has been running his e-commerce store, Hut Hut Video Hut, for the last 2 years. Now every year in the holiday season, he sells out of the hottest gadgets. Josh knows that if he had doubled the inventory, he could have doubled the sales. But he doesn't have the cash in the bank to bring that inventory into his store. And you know his vendor isn't going to front him the goods. But maybe somebody will. Enter Kickfurther. On the Kickfurther platform, Josh creates an offer, and he requests that that inventory be shipped to his store. Users on Kickfurther evaluate his offer alongside other offers on the marketplace. And if they like the rate of return, and if they think those cameras will sell, they can purchase that inventory and have it shipped to Josh. Now, when the inventory sells through the regular sales channels, Josh agrees to share a portion of that revenue with the users of Kickfurther. And in this case, they earn a great return, 10% in just 4 months. We've developed an innovative business model that's been thoroughly vetted by bankers, lawyers, and accountants. And we've received the green light from all of them. That's because on the Kickfurther platform, users are actually buying inventory and helping to market the goods. And since we launched our website just 9 days ago, we've successfully funded one offer and through a transaction fee model earned our first revenue. Thanks. Even better, we have another offer live right now. And I have to tell you, we are really excited by how positive the early feedback has been from both the users and the businesses. And the size of the market we have to grow in, there's no reason we can't eventually serve the entire e-commerce market, which is growing every year. But our initial marketing efforts are focused on one small segment of that market. We're focusing on the consumer electronics e-commerce segment, which incidentally is worth $75 billion. And the non-accredited investors, they're just as ready for Kickfurther. In fact, Forbes estimates that the non-accredited investor market is worth $2 trillion. Trillion with a T. You know. We're not the only one to have noticed this opportunity. But while other businesses are waiting on the SEC to issue rules for Title III of the Jobs Act, we're already closing deals and collecting revenue. I've told you about the incredible things we're going to do. Let me introduce the team that's going to make it happen. Andrew Westwick is our CTO. He brings years of experience interfacing with major e-commerce storefronts like JCPenney and Walmart. He custom built our platform from the ground up. I myself have 7 years of experience in the sourcing industry, and for the last 2, I was running a merchandising business. That was when I met Andrew and where the original idea for Kickfurther was born. Now, the time has never been better for a platform like Kickfurther. Slava Rubin, the CEO of Indiegogo, the very first crowdfunding platform, recently said at a conference, the 80s were all about desktop computing. The 90s were about online commerce. The 2000s were about social. And this decade will go down as the decade of funding. By the end of this decade, businesses will be using this platform not because it's cute or because it appeals to hipsters, but because it's good business. If you're interested in helping the average American grow their bank account and helping small businesses grow, we want to talk to you. We are Kickfurther, the evolution of crowdfunding. Thank you.
I'm going to have Sean stay out, and I'm going to bring out everyone, all the Boomtown teams and company. Give them a hand. Let's hear it for them. They're a good-looking bunch, this one. Let's bring out all the interns. I want to bring out the rest of my team. I want to thank everyone that helped today, the people that ran the front of the house, the Boulder Theater. You guys have been great given the circumstances. You've been great in general. I want to thank all of you guys so much. I can't tell you from the bottom of our heart how thrilled we are that you braved this weather, and it's just been a lot of fun to have you here. And we really want to thank all of the mentors, the sponsors, everyone that made this possible. Boomtown does not exist in a vacuum, and everyone that's up on this stage owes so much to every single person in this room. Your contributions just have made this incredibly successful, and we are so grateful. We're looking forward to doing this again, and we hope you'll join us next time, and we hope to see you this afternoon. Have a good one.
Look, if you had one shot